G'day YouTube, Down to Bricks here and welcome to this city update, and it's all about trains today. So believe it or not, the very first thing you need to do in a Lego city to plan out your layout is to lay your train track. Now, even though I've made a bit of a start on my city, before I lock anything into place, I need to position the train track. So that's what we're going to have a look at today. So let's jump in. I'll have a little bit of a chat to you about what I've got ahead of me. Not only do I need to get the train track into place so I can work out my city layout, I need to get all the track laid down in the mountain, behind the mountain in the tunnel. So I need to get that done, so once I start building the waterfall and putting everything into place, I don't have to worry about trying to get in behind there anymore. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this grey base plate here. I've actually got a stack of new ones I'm going to use. I'm going to cut it into the size I need, and I'm going to place that all along the back so I can lock the train track into place. So there's going to be no moving of the train track, and hopefully I don't get a derailment in behind the tunnel once everything's into place, because I don't want to have to pull it out to try and save a train. Now, I've got a few issues I have to work out, so I'm going to run the grey along the back, and then I'm pretty much thinking I'm going to use green base plates along the front. Now, the issue I had in my old city layout, if I come down to here, I've got a little piece of track sitting here, is there was two things I learnt from my old city layout. One was I had the straight track placed directly on a base plate, which caused a bit of a problem once I got to the corners, because the corners would sit up a little bit because they won't lock down onto the studs. So this time I'm going to elevate the train track by one plate, and then I can put some tiles or whatever underneath there, and the corner plates, the corner track, I can put some tiles underneath, a stud every now and again to lock it down, and that will keep the whole thing nice and firm. The other problem I did was I had the two tracks together. I had them placed side by side, which when it came to the corner, I had a problem. When the trains would corner, the nose of the train would stick out and hit the other train. So I had to do things like this, where I had gaps there to try and pull the trains apart. So what I'm going to do this time is I'm going to dedicate more space to the train track. The reason I did this in the old city layout was to give the least amount of space the train track took up, whereas this time I'm not going to concern myself with that. I'm going to give enough space for the train track to what it requires. So I'm actually thinking that I'm going to probably put them on the straights maybe 4 studs apart. That's what I'm thinking at the moment, which 4 studs apart should give me a nice big gap around the corners of the two tracks. Now that means I'm basically going to be using a whole base plate just for the trains. Now, the reason I'm a little bit unsure about whether to use green base plates or grey is I don't really know what's going in the front of the modulars as yet. So if I have buildings along there, I'm going to have buildings, you know, with grey walkways or whatever going straight onto green. I'm not sure how that will look, but if I use grey and say I've got a park area here which is all green, I've got grey onto green, and that's not going to match either. So I'm thinking I'll just stick with the green, and then if I have to, if I've got a grey building here and it doesn't quite match, I can then tile this green plate to match the building, where it's going to be easier for me to tile that than try and tile a grey plate to match a green park area, because, you know, then I've got green tiles and green studs. It's just not going to quite match. So I think that's a better way to do it. I've got a ton of plates, so that's not my issue. What I need to do very first of all is get the outer track laid, because I don't know the distance I'm going to need for the whole length of the train track, the whole length of the table. So I need to run an outer run, and then I'll do the inner run. What I do want to do in the tunnel here is I want the train train track to be in the middle of the tunnel, so I can actually build a tunnel right around the trains like that, the train tunnel entrance. So I need to move them over. So there's all these things that you don't think about at the time, and because I'm going to move that over in the middle, that means that corner, which is very dark back there, that's going to move closer to the inside. And I think I have one of these supports, I have it about there, which is going to be too close to the train, so I think I'm going to have to actually move that support back. So there's all these sorts of things that you don't really consider. It's very hard, it's a lot of planning. And as for the ballasting of the train track, I'm not going to look at that today. All I want to do is basically get the train track into place, and then I will do some ballasting down the track. No pun intended. So what I need to think about though is along the back, once I put it into place, I don't want to have to sort of get back in there and rework it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to elevate all of this back track along there. I'm going to have that elevated one plate already. When I come around here, I probably won't worry about doing the corners or the straight just yet, but at least the back will be done. And to do that and to save Lego, I think I'm just going to use 1x2 plates like this, and then just clip it onto the grey base plates that I have, like so. And I'll just have that along the back, and it'll be elevated, the one plate, ready for me to ballast the rest of the train track when it comes to it. So now I've got to move all these modulars so I can get in there and get to work. I still probably need to move these modulars to run some material and to move that support, but for now I'll just start with moving these modulars, and then we'll get cracking on laying some train track. So here's just a quick example of how I mean by elevating the track by one plate. So I can elevate the straight by one plate, and the corners can then go straight onto tiles. I've got one little stud there holding that track into place, but where I can put studs, I can lock it down, and then it's all nice and flat. A quick progress report, and it's a complete mess. But I do have the 2 loops done. So I'm not happy with the gap here, but I'm not too fussed about that. I can extend it a little bit more if I want to. The main thing now is just getting the track all in, and then, like I said earlier in the video, getting all the plates in, the base plates, raising that by a plate. So that's what I've still got to do. If we come down here and have a look, so this is more the gap I'm going for here, and it comes round. So I got 4 stud gap in between the track here, 4 studs gap at the back there. The base plates aren't lined up there. I don't think I'm going to mess with that too much, because once the tunnel's in, and the tunnel's, you know, going in so high, you're not really going to see that. Plus it's going to be dark in there, so I don't think I'll mess around with that too much. But yeah, I've got a little bit of plate in. I don't know if I can reach over there. I've got a little bit of base plate in there, but I've got to run base plate right along, and like I said, I've got to raise it that one plate as well. But at least the track is in. I'm probably just going to put a piece of timber across here. I don't know if I mentioned that before, just to hold that up, so at least I can start running some trains until I have a chance to build the bridge. Don't want to spend too much time on that yet anyway. That's down the track some ways. But yeah, I was right with that support. It was in the way, so I did have to, it was there before, so I did have to move it back. I had to cut a bit off the end there. So yeah, a little bit of messing around. The corners I'm not quite happy with. I haven't put the modular back in, but that corner is going to be very close to the modular. So to build a mountain around that, I might just have to build it out a little bit. Not quite sure what I'll do there, but I'll figure something out. But yeah, there is 2 loops around the city. So I haven't showed Mini Dub yet, because he'll want to run a train straight away, and yeah, this ain't going to support a train at the moment. Actually, no, probably not. Just having a look from this side, I've actually got a couple of trains down there that I've just been playing around with, and yeah, it's going to look good once all that base plate's all in, running right through. Okie dokie, I have an absolute mess going on here because I've had to strip a lot of track and a lot of base plates, so I've got a lot of parts sitting there, but I have laid base plates right along the whole train track here. So I have that running right along in behind the mountain, and I have cleaned up this corner as well, so that's looking pretty nice now. Just even though at its bare bones, I think it still looks pretty good. And if we get this modular here, and I'll try and do this all while holding the camera, if I slide this modular, if I get it in there, go on, it's just a tight fit, and there we go, snug. Slide that in, and a whooshka, and there we go. That holds that in place. Woo-hoo-hoo. Check that out. Now what I'm thinking about doing here is having my mountain come around here. I've got a heap of these parts which are pretty useless, to be honest with you, but they're in the old grey. If I get some old grey bricks, and I'll make up a wall like that and run it down the side there, and then just have like pretty much just like it's a reinforced wall. So they've carved the mountain out, reinforced it for the buildings. I'll have a little bit of mountain just coming around from that corner across the top of that, and then coming down here to the whole tunnel. I think that would be pretty cool. And if we just look from the end here, there we go inside the tunnel. So now I actually have to raise all that track like I said. So I'm going to go and get into my old tub of used parts and try and find as many plates as I can. I can chuck them up the back here and raise up that track. So I'll go and do that now. So as I said, I was going to raise this track up one plate. So I've done that now right along the back. If I can get up there. Right along the back there, and it's all multicolored because I've used all old parts. So if it's a bit wobbly, I'm stretching out here. And if we go down, I'll bring me ladder with me. If we go right down to the end here, that is all done, and the corners are done as well. So I've got tiles under there and an occasional stud to lock it in place, and I've even gone so far as to actually put in a couple of screws. So I don't know if you can see that screw down there right in the center of the track. Each corner has about 3 screws holding it down. It's just going to help lock it all into place because I don't want any movement whatsoever back there once all the buildings are in place. So if I have a derailment, it's all going to be my fault. It's not going to be the fault of the track. It's going to be me driving too fast. So I'm going to cut the video here because it's getting a little bit long. I do apologize that we didn't get any train action this month, but next month we'll definitely be back with some train action. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. If you did enjoy this video, please give it a thumbs up. Leave a comment below. I'd love to hear from you. But a big thank you for taking the time to watch. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.